The team at Gold Results wants to wish you the happiest of holidays. And we thought the best way to inspire you going into the new year is to introduce you to 4 people who inspire us. We call them gold standard humans, because they've not only had exceptional success in their individual careers, but they're also the type of human beings that we should all aspire to become. Because optimal performance isn't just about making the most money or scoring the most points. It's also about making the world a better place. Toniejo was a successful champion racing motocross and quad with over 100 top 3 finishes when a terrible accident left him confined to a wheelchair. Instead of becoming depressed, he decided to race jet skis, where he won multiple championships. He's also done the Dakar in a truck, and he's the first Spaniard to pilot an F1 on water. Toniejo proves that mindset is really the only limiting factor.
El Campeonato de España se hizo en Madrid y yo ahí gané. Imagínate estar en un podium, mirar a la derecha y ver a un piloto de pie, y mirar a la izquierda y ver a otro piloto de pie, y todavía estar en el centro. Estaba loco de contento, llamé a mi padre y le dije: papá, acabo de ganar el Campeonato de España. Y mi padre me dice: no me digas, hijo, que ahora corres maratones, corro en moto de agua. Y entonces mi padre me dijo: ¿cuántos discapacitados había? No había ningún discapacitado, porque si yo he ganado es porque tampoco lo soy. Yo creo que las personas tenemos que tener sueños e intentar cumplirlos. Yo siempre tengo un proyecto en la cabeza que no sé si me va a salir o no, pero lo hago. Yo creo que las personas, cuando no tienen proyectos, si tienen una vida plana, yo creo que te mueres. Y además, yo creo que abre más puertas una sonrisa que una cartera. Yo creo, sinceramente, con la mano en el corazón, de verdad, con la mano en el corazón te lo digo, yo creo que he sido un privilegiado de la vida. El primer paso no te lleva a donde quieres ir, pero sí te saca de donde estás. Mira, yo cuando tuve el accidente y me rompí la espalda, el mismo día que tuve el accidente recibí un telegrama de mis amigos que decía: hay hombres que luchan un día y son buenos, hay hombres que luchan un año y serán mejores, y hay hombres que luchan toda una vida, y esos son los imprescindibles como tú, Toniejo, no nos falles. O sea, jamás en la vida olvidaré. Ese telegrama yo lo tengo colgado en una pared en Madrid. Pues ahora quiero llevar al alcalde. Quiero llevar al alcalde de la ciudad a un evento. Y llevo 2 años y medio con él. A ver si le puedo llevar en su coche oficial, como si fuera yo su guardaespaldas. Fíjate, el paralítico veloz de guardaespaldas. Y dice: pero tú estás loco, tú sabes la cantidad de permisos que hace falta para eso. Y pues hay que ir sacándolos uno por uno. Pero habrá que conseguirlos. Pues la verdad es que nunca lo había pensado. Esa pregunta no me la había hecho nunca. Pero a mí me gustaría que me recordaran como una persona alegre.
I met Ale when she came to a seminar that I gave in Miami about 8 years ago. She was full of passion about being a singer, but still struggling. The real magic occurred when she realized that was the only thing she could be. That's truly who she is. Listen to her story.
It's interesting. That seminar was 8 years ago. It's so crazy. And basically what happened after that is I made the choice to start working with music full time because I wasn't. And that, brought me to gigging everywhere. I started singing everywhere. I started telling everyone what I did for a living. And then after that, I just kept doing it. I kept doing it and kept doing it. And then, I was called to be on La Voz. It was just a lot of consistency. Even in the days where I didn't feel like I wanted to do anything, I had to do it. My favorite question to ask myself and to ask people around me when they ask me, they're how do you do this, or how do you get on the stage and sing in front of a bunch of people? I ask them, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? And so when I ask myself that question, I kind of put myself back in that perspective where I have no choice but to be grateful for what I have. I think it's an act of violence to compare yourself with other people towards yourself, right? And then there's also the whole idea that if someone wins, then that means that someone else is losing, you know, and that's not, no one is really losing. If you're doing what you love to do, then you're already winning in life. The unity is what makes us so much stronger. The Latin Grammy nomination just added gasoline to the fire. So I'm just gonna keep making music. I think music is a very underestimated medicine. I would like to leave behind the idea that it is okay to be exactly who you are and how you are, and do whatever it is that resonates with you without hurting other people.
SHUJA is a trained surgeon who went on to have a successful career in venture capital, where he introduced human values into his investment criteria. He's gone on to use his own money for philanthropy, helping out people in need. You could say he's a heart surgeon with a heart of gold.
I was the CIO of one of the Dubai government's private equity funds and real estate fund. It was about $10 billion, which was about 10% of the GDP of the country. Between 2009 and 2012, I've been involved in 7 bankruptcy filings, of which the majority were able to be rescued. That involved employees losing their jobs if we messed up. And the good CEOs, the good board members, take that into account, that this is not about some quick return that we want. This is about 1,400 employees who have nothing to do with the way we manage that company, and yet on a trigger will lose their job in one day. And that's the sort of empathy you look for. In surgery, there is obviously a lot of pressure. Certainly on a general basis, I don't get anxious, because whatever we do in a company is not life and death. Yes, there are implications, but at the end, things don't lead to someone dying on the table, for example. So you always have to put that perspective in place. Very proud of my father. Everything I've learned is with his lens. He treated everyone with respect, and it reflected back on him. He would help people out, and not just financially, but also in terms of moral support. So those things as a child, you just learn when you see it constantly, all the time, as part of the DNA of someone. That's a tough question. If people remember you as someone who has helped in whatever they've touched, in whatever way they can, that they've been fair, that they have been honest and true to what they have said they were delivering, then I think that's great.
Scott's career is centered around being a paradigm buster, both as an entrepreneur and in larger corporations, finding innovative solutions to previously impossible problems. He's also an active crusader for equality, diversity, and sustainability, making a very significant impact to make the world a better place.
Yeah, sure. So I started a little over 6 years ago, and it was very small relative to the industry and in lodge tech. So right before I came, the business was about $62 million. And our last fiscal year, it was about 6 months ago, we did $1.6 billion. So we grew about 30x. And I think part of what you do as a leader is, first of all, you get great people. Fundamentally, getting the best people, unleashing them, I think is critical. And then the second thing is providing a singular vision. It's not something that was just imposed by the CEO, although he's very passionate about it. I think a lot of us share a lot of the similar values about diversity, equality, sustainability. Part of our mission is not just about making money in video conferencing, which is important, but we really think that if the world needs solutions that are going to, allow them to reduce our carbon emissions and footprint, then I think you have to do that through innovation, not just browbeating people. So for example, about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, we said we're going to get rid of all PVC out of all of our plastics. Now we make a lot of devices, so that was a huge change. And at the time, it had a pretty big impact. It was like tens of millions of dollars increase. But we just basically told everyone, we're going to do it because it's the right thing. PVCs are evil. If every knowledge worker could spend just 1 day a week, and transportation's about a third of all carbon, then we could influence about 1 to 2% of all carbon. We could reduce it, just us, our little group. I hope that my legacy was that I helped the human race both get closer together and communicate more, and ultimately give people the freedom where we can have this collaboration without feeling the need to always get on a plane and do our little dent in the universe on global climate change.